I am so excited because I'm interviewing Ricky Carruth on today's episode of Get Real Estate Fit with Shayla Twit. If you're not familiar with Ricky, he's a 20-year plus veteran. He was top in his MLS in Gulf Shores, Alabama for many years. He's a investor, coach. He travels all around the country to speak. I'm so excited to talk to him about, well, everybody wants to know the 2023 predictions, right? And we've got a series of other great questions from agents in my office about real estate and tactics throughout this new changing market. And if you're new to my channel, which is Get Sarasota Real Estate Fit with Shayla Twit, of course I'm Shayla Twit, and I sell in the Sarasota area, Manatee County, Charlotte County area. I've been here for 20 plus years, selling since 2002. I would love it if you subscribe, like, comment, and share my channel, and I am so thrilled to be talking to Ricky Carruth. Ricky Carruth, hello, how are you?
Good morning, how are you?
I'm great. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for coming on my channel, Get Sarasota Real Estate Fit with Shayla Twit. I want to give you an intro first because I feel like you're a very big influencer in the real estate space. First of all, 20 years plus in the business, okay? Licensed in Florida, my state, and your state of Alabama. Mm-hmm. You have exploded online. You are a huge influencer, which is really impressive. Speaker, investor, and coach.
Yep.
Impressive. Yep. There are 5 reasons why I want to have you on the show. Number 1, I love your messaging. I think that you have a great purpose, a greater purpose of helping agents, which I think is really amazing. Number 2, your quote saying, no matter what, closings are happening every day. I think that's great as well. Of course, because you're licensed in Florida is number 3. And number 4, your morning routine, we're very similar because we share the same similar early morning workout routine. And last but not least, we have a really similar story that we've been in the business about the same amount of time and we've kind of lost everything and had to start over. So I think that we align in many ways. And I think that this is perfect for both of our audiences. Now you have a much larger audience than me. So I do appreciate you coming on. I'll just dive right into the first question.
Let's get it.
All right. Question number 1 from co-banker agent in my office, Monica Verinder. What are some tips for winning luxury listings?
I mean, honestly, a lot of people try to segregate the luxury versus what do you call the other group of properties? Average or
another house?
Whatever. I don't know what the category is for just regular, the average price house. But to me, like, there's not a whole lot of difference, honestly. People just want to know you care. Right. They want to know you're going to work hard, have their best interest. It's really comes down to the same stuff. I think the difference is that instead of talking to property owners who own average price point houses, you're talking to people that own luxury houses. So there is going to be some different mannerisms and nuances and tone and body language, of course. When you're dealing with people that have super high net worths. However, the game is the same in terms of walking in, filling out the situation, seeing exactly what it is they want to do, and then helping them put together a plan to help them do it. So I think maybe stop categorizing it as something totally different, like it's a totally different strategy, and more so look at it like, okay, the only different strategy is to focus on having conversations with people that own luxury instead of people that own average price point houses, and then going on enough appointments and being around these higher net worth individuals to try to understand how you fit into that world personally, because the way that I would go and fit into that world is going to be different than the way you go and fit in that world. It's going to be differently than the way the agent that's asking the question fits into that world. So the answer is go out there and get as much experience as you can, talking to and getting in front of. And like if there's probably one of the best ways to do that, the quickest way is that if there's a for sale by owner, high luxury property, and just set an appointment up to just go view the house and go there and talk to the owner and have a conversation about why they're selling and what's going on with the property, how many showings have they had, so on and so forth, and kind of try to get the feel for what it feels like to be in one of those really big, nicer homes, and how the owner kind of responds to you and your personality and the way that you operate and stuff like that, you know. But at the end of the day, it's just getting in front of more luxury property owners to kind of figure out, you know, what your specialty is in communicating with them.
Yeah, I think that it's a relationship business, and it's also, no matter if it's luxury, mid-range, or low range, it's sort of kismet. It's like you click with the person or you don't, and it's not just about the dollars and cents. It's about like wanting to help them thereafter,
I
not
have
just get the
agents who
listing.
get, you know, 10, $20 million listings that use, you know, my strategies. I've got agents in, you know, countries around the world. And what I've realized is that it doesn't matter who you are or what your net worth is or what your beliefs are. At the end of the day, everybody just wants to know that you care about them. You're going to work hard. You know, you're trustworthy, you're professional. So, you know, it's just a matter of, okay, this is going to be my niche. I'm going to do luxury, or I'm going to do Gulf front condos, or I'm going to do commercial, whatever your niche is. And then it's just a matter of talking to people that own that type of property at a high frequency, getting in front of, having appointments, and closing deals, you know, and just getting that experience behind your belt. And the more experience you have, the better you'll get at landing those type of deals, you know?
And I don't know how you feel, but I certainly feel like, because you and I have been doing this a minute now, that the lower end deals, let's say under 250, or in that, when I started out, that's what the number was. If you can do those, you can do luxury, because those people, they're usually, the numbers really, really matter. Not that they don't matter for luxury, but I feel like in the luxury scheme of things, like there's more leeway and there's more room, generally speaking. So I do feel like if you could do short sales, foreclosures, lower end, you can certainly tackle luxury, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Like all the luxury stuff I've done has really been a lot easier than the, you know, the lower price point stuff, right? It's lower
Yeah.
volume in terms of number of transactions. So you're not juggling, like when I'm doing stuff that's 3 to 500, I'm juggling like 20 at a time. When I'm doing high end luxury, I'm doing like 2 at a time. So it's much easier to manage. And the clients are honestly most of the time easier to deal with because, like you say, they're very experienced in this real estate game. So you don't have to really educate them. They know the game, they know what to expect. And it's just
Hmm.
kind of easier, honestly,
I was
right?
gonna
So
say it's probably not their first deal, like this multi-million dollar. They've probably worked their way up to it, and it's like they've been through the rodeo, so to
mhm,
speak.
yeah.
Question number 2 from Mairead Smielek, again, co-banker, global luxury agent in my office. Where should agents invest their time and money in lead generation?
On whatever works for you. So there's so many lead generation avenues to go down. I mean, I know agents that swear on Zillow leads. I know agents that will only do YouTube. I know agents that, you know, only cold call, and then they only cold call a subset of leads they could cold call. Like they'll just do expireds, or they'll just circle prospect, or they'll just do for sale by owners.
Hmm.
You know, there's so many different ways to go. So it's kind of hard to say because I don't know what this agent's strengths and weaknesses are and what's going to work best for them. It's so customized around the agent, you know? So there's not like, oh,
That's
well,
true.
here's the best way to build your business. No, I don't know what the best way to build your business is because you can do it a million different ways. And until you test things out to figure out what works best for you, you don't really know what to go all in on.
Hmm.
What I can tell you is that if whatever your lead gen activity is, it has to the goal needs to be um, data collection of property owners, a high frequency of conversations with property owners in your market, followed by remarketing to these property owners forever.
Hmm.
That's the process. You know, it's every lead generation activity it goes like this: collect the data, talk to them, remarket, right? Every single one of them. Even if you do open houses, you're having them sign in at the door, so that you can collect their data, so you can call them next week and then remarket to them forever until they decide to do something or whatever the case may be. So,
Right.
Facebook ads, you're collecting data to talk to them to remarket. Zillow, you're collecting data to talk to them to remarket. Circle prospecting, expireds, data collection, talk to, remarket. It's all the same stuff. So you got to figure out what you like the best. That collects the data, right? For me, it's like, okay, if data collection is the first step, how can I do that at scale for the cheapest amount of money? How can I get the most data of property owners in my market for the lowest price? And for me, that's one of these auto dialing data collection companies like RedX. Like you get like RedX, you can pick a subdivision and get all the property owners' information in that subdivision with a couple of clicks for like 2 cents per contact of somebody that you picked out, right? Or an expired. They have expired. You can go back 10 years worth. You can also run social media ads to these property owners right there on RedX and only be hitting these property owners with every single penny you put into the ads. For me, I don't know anything better than that. If it's a data collection game to then talk to people to remarket to, then and you can get the data for literally 2 pennies of any property owner you want in the market. I don't know anything better than that. And then you've got their data. You can then talk to them. You can remarket to on social media. You can do weekly emails. It's kind of ridiculous. So if I'm just answering in general, I'm going to say RedX, collect data, talk to them, remarket to on social and weekly email, but some people are like, oh, you're talking about cold calling and do. Okay. Well, what are you doing when you get a Zillow lead?
Well, it works if it works for you and you gravitate toward it and you get excited about it.
It's a mindset.
It's not always going to be, it's not always going to be doing what you love, but it's doing it at a high capacity and consistently.
It's a mindset, right? Because like the people that scream Zillow leads, right? And I'll talk to them and I'm like, well, you're just getting data for like hundreds of dollars per contact. And then you're just calling them. Same thing I'm doing, except for I'm getting the contact and you're getting a random person that's searching on Zillow. I'm getting the exact person I want to do business with for 2 cents. And then I'm contacting.
Really good way to put it.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm contacting them just like you are. I'm just not paying a couple $100. I'm paying 2 cents. And then I'm contacting them just like you. And then I'm remarketing to them just like you. But I paid 2 cents and you paid a couple $100 for this lead. But not only that, yours is a random lead and mine is targeted to the exact person I want to do business with. So again, the only reason I talk about this is because I haven't found anything that I feel like is more efficient or better. You know what I mean?
Right.
But again, like, let me digress. I know agents that did, 60 million last year purely on YouTube. I know agents that did 60 million last year purely on Facebook and Instagram, totally organic, no paid leads.
Wow.
I also know agents that did, 60 million with expireds or with circle prospecting. So I think you just have to pick your lane and realize that you can't get around that conversation piece. I think the skill everybody needs to develop is communicating with people on the phone and in person and getting really good at not being scared, being really comfortable, looking at it like a discovery or a detective, trying to figure out what's going on, how they're doing, what they want to do, why they want to do it, how you can help them do it, and really kind of developing these relationships for life, no matter what kind of lead or who it is. I mean, if it's a human being in your market, you should feel connected just because you live in the same area. If you're in California and you meet somebody that's from your area, you automatically feel like super connected to that person. You're both in California at the same time and you met this person and you're like, oh man, we're from the same place. Cool. Where are you from? Oh, da. And like you get in this great friendly conversation just because you're from the same area. But then
it's an instant connection.
Exactly. But then agents are scared to call somebody in their area. It's like you guys are immediately connect. It's an instant connection. You're from the same place.
Right. I actually, speaking to exactly that point, I actually did not cold call for 18 years of my 20-year plus now career. I started doing it and I started doing like geofarm cold calls to invite them to an upcoming open house, or just tell them about a new listing. And just yesterday I did that because we have an open house coming up, and the guy, I was like, you sound like you're from the Midwest. And he's like, sure enough, you're from Wisconsin. I said, I'm from Stevens Point, and so it's like, and then he wanted to stay on the phone longer, and now we've got the rapport, and now I'm going to stay in touch with him, and now he's going to be on the mailing list, and on and on. And it's like, we have that, people remember that more than, hey, you want to list your house? Like, you can't just call and say, hey, you want to list your house? It's like, everything comes back down to relationships, like you said.
It's horrible, the scripts that are being used out there. It's really bad. And if I can just get through to agents and really spread my message as far as possible, that I'm not trying to sell that house. I'm trying to use that property as an excuse to get into a conversation, to see if I can get to know somebody and find out what it is that they want to do, and see if I can help them do it. Whether it involves me making money or not, whether it involves listing that house or not, that's irrelevant, because I know that if I'm doing my job to talk to enough people in the market to try to see what I can do to help people using my real estate services, I'm going to close a lot of deals. You don't have to close a deal on every single person. It's the law of averages. I'm going to sell a lot of property if I'm talking to a lot of people with the right intentions. So,
and if they and people feel that you have good intentions, and they'll want to tell their friends and family, and then it just snowballs. Like, if you do something good genuinely because you care, they'll feel it, and then they'll tell everybody. And that's how repeat referrals works, which is the most priceless thing an agent can have, is a repeat or a referral customer. It's literally like gold, and it's just like, every time I get one, and I'm sure you too, like, it's just like, you just feel so good that, wow, okay, they really did enjoy that, and it just means a lot. So on to question number 3 from actually my best friend, Melissa Marjanovic. She actually started following you. She saw a quote that you put up when asked about, like, when a seller asked you about commission, you said something to the effect of, not directly quoting, but lower than anyone else. So
no, that's a direct
I
quote.
said, I said, well, hey, now, Ricky, we're out here trying to get the 6%. I feel like there's a lot of value that we provide. And so I really strongly, push for the 6% and 99.9%. So I tried to read in your description where you were going with that. And I was like, well, I got to ask him. So tell me about that quote.
So, like I said in the caption of that post, we've got like 30 something listings. I would say somewhere around 60-70% of them are at 6%. Right. Okay. So I'm not like a discount broker. I'm getting 6% on just about everything. If not, it's like 5.9, 5.8, 5.5. Right. Okay. So I'm just a master of, number one, getting the deal, and number 2, getting the most commission I can possibly get. So it's like, if you're not flexible on your commission, if you're just going to say, oh, we're worth it, this is my worth. Well, what is the customer's worth, and what is the worth of that lifetime relationship? Is it worth losing over 1/10%? I'm afraid not. No, and if they're going to go use another agent who's going to do it for 5.5, and you won't do it for 5.4, to really show them what's up and give them the same service you would at a 6%, then your business is not going to be as large as it could be over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, because you're losing these relationships over this little 0.1% that equals like $500 or less. And so if you're not flexible on your commission, you're basically saying, hey, Mr. Customer, I don't care about you. But also, if you don't become really great and develop the skills to get the highest commission possible, then you're basically saying, I don't care about my business. So don't get it twisted. There's a fine line between getting really good. This is coming from 21 years of experience, losing a lot of deals over like 1% or 0.5%, and realizing it's like, man, I would have taken that for 4.9, all day long. I would have taken that for 4.9. And so, it puts me in a position of power when I say that, because most of the deals that I'm doing, and a lot of the clients that you run into, they just love you. Like, I did a deal. I got a listing last week. I went there. We did the listing agreement. I put 6%. They asked me as we're signing, what's your commission? I said 6%. They didn't care. Right. So most people are just going to pay you what you want. But when you get into these people that are kind of nitpicky, nickel and diming, they're interviewing 3 agents to see which one they like the best versus what they're going to charge. If I know I'm in a situation where they're interviewing other agents, right? And if they ask that question, then they're probably more than likely interviewing other agents. That's something I ask anyway. Like, are you interviewing other agents? And if I know they are, and then it's kind of a crapshoot to try to win this deal, right? I'm going to give the best impression I can that, I'm going to really look out for them and stuff. But also I want to, if they ask me what my commission is, I mean, I've literally said this so many times and it's won me so many listings. They're like, what's your commission? I'm like, lower than anybody else's. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah. They're like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, I normally do 6%. Right. Sometimes I do 5% if I represent the buyer as well. I said, but if you find somebody that does lower than that, come to me and let me know about it. Right. And so what does that do? It puts me in a position where if somebody's going to do it for 4.5% or 4%, let's say, and the owner comes back to me and says, I've got somebody to do it for 4%, then I can look at the deal and I can say, okay, do I want to take this for 3.9 or do I want to just let this go? Because I'm going to give the buyer agent 2.5, right? 2.5 is kind of like the standard. 2.5 to 3 is a standard for my area. We don't really go under that for the buyer agent. So at 3.5, I'm getting 1.4. So like I have to make a decision, like most of the time I'm going to let that deal just go. I'm going to let the other agent take it for 4 in those scenarios. However, at least I have the decision to make versus if I didn't say that, they just do it for 4 when it would have been a deal I took for 3.9. Like if it's a $2 million deal and I'm going to get 1.4, that's $30,000. There's a chance, depending on what I think about the deal, that I might take that deal. But I want to have the option to take the deal. I don't want the deal to just disappear and I didn't even know. So when I say that quote, it gives me the power to look at it and decide if I want to take it or not. I've taken a lot of deals at 4.9 because they'll come back and say, oh, so-and-so will do it for 5. I'll do it for 4.9. Done. And so that 0.1% is so little, but I got the deal. And now I have this client for life. And the lifetime value of the client is immeasurable because when they refer people to me, those people turn into 10 to 20 deals. Those refer, like it just snowballs into, each client snowballs into so much business over the life of your career. I'm not willing to lose that over 0.1% or 0.5% if I can help it. So it just gives me a position of power where I can really kind of make the decisions of what deals I want to do.
That makes sense. And it's not just about the numbers. It's the whole picture. Like, where is the house? Is it in your market? Is it an hour away? Who is the person? Is it a friend? So I think, yes. Yeah. Okay. That explains a little bit more. And honestly, I didn't even think to say like 5.9 or 4.9 or I usually do 5.5 out the gate if I sell it. So I don't, and in our market, it's 3% to the buyer's agent, like at our office. So it depends on
when you represent a buyer, or do you ever do do they ever give you 2.5?
Yes.
Okay. So it's kind of in your market, it's kind of a standard thing that it's 2.5 to 3, not 3 across the board, right? It's 2.5 to 3. So you could take a listing at 4.9 and take 2.4 and 2.5 for the buyer's agent and have a client for life. And you made 2.4% on the one deal, right?
I've also negotiated commission to be paid in addition to make me whole on the buyer and the seller side in the transaction. So there are other ways that you can get your full if you're looking for that full 3 or 6%. So
yeah.
But thank you for explaining that because I saw that I was like, well, now okay, I need to ask him.
It's not an undercut to the market. It's not like, oh, let's chase the market down and undercut everybody. It's a method of being able to filter through the deals and decide if I want to do them or not. Like I say, that's pretty rare. Most of the time I get whatever I ask for. You know what I mean?
Those are the best because they already know, like they see the value. It's like, boom, I'm paying I'm getting for. Okay. Moving along from Andrew Reese at Coldbaker Global Luxury. Are there any markets that you think are insulated from a downturn? And if so, why? And then any areas that come to mind, like anything in Florida?
I don't think so. I think everybody's susceptible to a downturn. Markets are local, of course, and you look at the national stats, and I think nationally we're down like 5 to 10% price wise, median prices, but you've got markets that are down much further than that. The Bay Area in California, Phoenix, like there's some areas that are down further than the national average, and there's some markets that have kind of held a little more firm. However, even the ones that have held firm, we've seen a downturn in transactions, and so on and so forth. So the downturns kind of affect each local market a little differently.
Oh, we got 10 minutes left, just warning.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay.
So you have it affects each local market a little differently. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. If you understand closings continue to happen, the market can fluctuate your business a little bit.
I like it.
Like you can, you might do a little less closings one year, a little more closings the next year because of the market, but the market's never going to take you out if you're continuing to have a high frequency of conversations with property owners every day, building your database, doing all the things you're supposed to do.
Actions. How many times we wake up and we don't want to do the thing? How many times we don't wake up at 4 o'clock to go to the gym? It's all the same things, like doing the things that you don't want to do at the highest level. That's a quote from, I think it's Steve and Kathy Harris. They have a really great podcast, all real estate coaching as well. I don't know if you know them, but they say that over and over again. And it's so true. It's just, waking up and doing the things. Moving on here, another question from Barbara Chacho. She's asking, or she just commented, relationships over transactions. What would you say is your number one way to curate relationships so they'll call you over and over again? Is her question.
Treat them like mom or dad.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you think, okay, if my mom asked me, or if my mom told me that she was gonna sell her house and move, out of state or something, right? What would be the first question you would ask her?
Right.
What would you ask your mom? Like, what would be the first thing you asked your mom if she said she was going to sell? If she called you right now and said, "I'm going to sell my house,"
where are you going to go to?
Yeah,
where are we going?
Right. It would be like, why? Like, and that question is like more like, where are you going and why? Like, what's happening, mom? And like your tone, the way that you are, the tone and the genuine curiosity and the love you have for your mother and stuff. That's the way that you should talk to your prospects. And like that tone, that tonality, the speed of voice, the way you're breathing, your body language, mannerisms, all that plays into how much they feel like you actually care about them. Like when you're really present and you're actually listening and you're asking the questions of why, what's going on in your life, kind of thing, that's what builds the relationships super deep. I think most agents just play on the surface of, do you want to sell? Okay, here's what you can sell it for. Do you want to do it? And that's just playing on the surface. And that doesn't really go deep with the relationship.
It's so transactional, like here, sign here, let's move along, like assembly line. And I mean, it goes back to like, I wouldn't want to be treated like that. Like this is a big move for most people and it's a big purchase or sale or whatever. And so I agree with that wholeheartedly. Two more questions. Second to last from Lismary Vicente. Will FSBOs come back to reality with the market shifting as more inventory becomes available? Get your crystal ball out.
I think that, for sale by owners should be looked at like any other prospect. You're just using that property as an excuse to talk to them and get to know them. You should look at them as a possible buyer lead or something of that nature versus just trying to sell this property or get this listing, let's get it priced right. Maybe they don't want to sell it, right? They have this high price, right? Dig into why they're selling. See, there's some sellers are this would sell if sellers. I would sell if I can get this number, but if I can't get this number, then I don't care if I sell. I don't need to sell. I don't really want to sell, but if I can get this number, I will. So you have to understand not every, seller for sale by owner or even listing that lists with you is a deal, right? Or wants to be a deal. A lot of them don't want to sell at all. They're just out there. If they get this high price, awesome. If not, they don't care. So you have to understand people's mentalities, and that's why we dig really deep into why they're selling. Why are you selling? Well, I don't really want to. Oh, okay. Why are you even marketing it? Well, I would sell if I get this number, I'll sell it. And now you know who you're dealing with, and
Right.
you're like, okay, well, great. Well, let me ask you this. If it had a great deal on a rental property, would you be interested in that? They're like, oh, shoot. Yeah. What you got? I'm like, well, I got this, and this, or what kind of rental properties do you like? And now you have an investor on your hands and you can go find them a property to invest in or something. There's just so many ways to take each lead. And agents they're too focused on this one avenue, list this house or close, do this deal or do that deal. It's like, talk to them like they're people, figure out
Right.
what it
Well, they
is they
are.
want to
Yeah.
do, and
Yeah.
help them do it, just dig, dig, dig.
And it might not be what you think, and they might be going through something that is more motivating and other things that are not like underlying reasons. So it's
Yeah.
just, again, getting to know people is exactly the underlying. All right, last but not least, everybody wants to know, this question comes from Gigi Kuster in my office. What are your 2023 predictions?
Oh, so that's a good one. Right now, with the way everything is, we're starting to see interest mortgage rates creep back up. And that's because we're starting to see the market pick back up. So as the market picks back up, they want to keep control of the market. They don't want it to get overheated again. So that's why I believe we've
Mhm.
seen mortgage rates come up just a tad here lately, about 0.5%, half a point, which is a lot. And I think what's going to happen is we're going to have this big springtime rush.
Yeah.
And but then after that is really the unknown. The market could go one of two ways. If it becomes really overheated, which I don't think it will, I think it's going to I think we're going to have a nice spring pop and then it's going to kind of calm down. I think that's what's going to happen. We're going to see inventory come back up a little bit. And I think we're just going to kind of have a really nice solid rest of the year. But if it becomes really overheated, which I don't believe, because that would mean interest rates would have to go down pretty far for that to happen. But if it does, or if it becomes really overheated at 6% mortgage rates, then they're really going to jack mortgage rates up to kind of combat the overheatedness of the market. And that's where we could have kind of
Mhm.
a replay of last year. But I don't believe that's going to happen. What I think is going to happen is it's going to calm down and we're going to kind of get a little bit back to normal. But again, inventory is the true problem. Builders, are like, like government should come out and like do some kind of incentive for buyers to buy new construction, like give some kind of incentive for buyers to buy new construction, but then also an incentive for builders to build new construction. Like that would be great if like builders just went crazy and just started building like crazy, to help this inventory problem, because that's what we have. So I think it's going to be slow and steady. It's going to be a great market. Prices are going to remain around where they are. And I think we'll end up the year kind of like what NAR predicted, like 4.8 million transactions. I think we'll be in that 4.5 to 4.8 million transaction mark at the end of the year, which will be a really, really good year.
So I know, since you're a licensed Florida agent for Florida, at least, I mean, we have such a huge, I know in Gulf Shores where you are too, snowbird population that could affect things too, because they buy throughout the year, right? And they tend to buy at premiums and still on the beach anyway. So I don't
Yeah,
know,
like I say,
that's sort of affecting.
every market's really different. Like right now, while the rest of the country, a lot of the countries experience this influx of buyers and mortgage applications and multiple offers and stuff like that. I'm not really getting much in my local business because Gulfront condos aren't on fire like primary home
Okay.
markets in certain price range, right? So I've got like 30 something listings and we're hardly getting any showings. It's just kind of dead, which is fine because that's just the calm before the storm. Like we'll wake up in 30 days and we'll be selling these listings like hotcakes or whatever.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, no, it's all relative to local markets and stuff. A lot of people, there was a big rush of people leaving California and New York to move to Florida, which
Right.
is kind of starting to calm down. But you guys had a big influx of population because of that, which is great for your housing market. That's the primary market. Then you got all the vacation rental type stuff around, the beaches and waterways and stuff. You guys got a great market.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting that you say that your Gulf front properties are not flying off the shelves, or whereas here they many of them are. So that's
Mhm.
very, very interesting to me. I thought you would say the opposite, but it just goes to show you how hyper focused the
Mhm.
market is.
Yeah.
So we're running out of time here, but I want to first of all thank you so much. I watch and listen to your podcast or YouTube. I find you very positive and motivational, and so guys, follow him at your handles at Ricky Carruth for most of
Mhm.
your platforms, right? So
Yep.
Instagram and
Yep.
YouTube for sure. So
Yep.
everybody give him a follow and a like
Yeah.
and subscribe.
Thank you so much for having me on, and we'll do it again sometime real soon.
Sounds awesome. Thank you.
Cool. See ya.